At what point are we classed as a living being? Is it at conception? Birth? Is it when we start to learn? If so, when is that? Scientific research tells us that just at 4 weeks old, the brain has started to develop within the womb. From this moment on, the brain development of the fetus relies heavily on its environment, the mother. This means that a mother is ultimately responsible for how a child will learn for the rest of their lives, because it's in the womb that a child forms the concrete building blocks to support their future learning. At 22 to 24 weeks of age, a fetus will respond to noise or touch. However, they will ignore repetitive sounds or movement, meaning they've developed a simple kind of memory called habituation. From 32 weeks, a fetus shows signs of conditioning, which is a more complex type of memory development. A fetus at this age is able to recognise the sound of their mother's voice, her smell, and sometimes even music. How is this relevant? Learning requires someone or something to recall or practice a task or information. Without the gift of memory, would learning be possible? It seems that whilst in the womb, a fetus learns through repetition, and as the brain continues to develop, so does the memory capabilities. Our time in the womb is not long, but our learning capabilities are phenomenal by the end of our stay. Just imagine what can be achieved in the right learning environment throughout an entire lifetime.
During childhood, the brain is at its most energetic and flexible stage of development. Children love to explore the world around them, and as they do, neurological pathways are being developed at rapid rates. Before a child turns 1, they have already begun to control their voluntary movement, which has developed their emotions, become attached to various things and people. They are able to remember different things. Their attention span is increased, and they have learnt to plan things. Have you ever tried to learn a language? It is one of the most complex things you will ever learn, but children under 3 learn to speak the language of their parents at a rapid rate. In fact, play is so very important as a part of learning in a child's development, and it's said to improve relationships, build literacy and numeracy skills, stretch their imagination, and provide physical skills such as motor skills. As children develop through childhood, they learn through experiences, observation and repetition. So much of not only what the child learns, but their experiences in their childhood years will impact their lives as adolescents and adults, not only in their knowledge base, but also their relationships.
Shoes, pear, echidna, staple gun. There is so much going on in the mind of an adolescent, not just in their thought patterns, growth or development, but within the actual physical construction of their brain. What is going on in that head of yours is a common expression from frustrated adults to adolescents. Do you really want to know? Well, during this stage of life, the brain is in the process of maturing in regards to sensory and motor areas, language and spatial orientation, and higher processing and executive functions. This process is called cerebral pruning, where the brain is deciding what is necessary to maintain and what isn't. If something is a part of the latter, it is pruned off as grey matter. It's just like a hedge, really. Snip, snip. So, how does learning occur in an adolescent who is constantly undergoing these constructions? Raleigh Philp, an experienced teacher and author at Pepperdine University's Graduate School of Education and Psychology, says, "The key is change. You've got to find innovative ways to change the psychological state of your learners about every 20 minutes, he says. Get them up on their feet, change the environment using music, have them interact with each other. This is a challenge to all teachers out there. How often do lessons for students end up blending into one boring day full of sitting, listening, reading and writing? If student learning really is the first priority, it's time to rethink the methods that are used to capture the ever-developing minds of an adolescent. This is such a crucial stage for a person's development. Thus, it is critical that optimal teaching and learning takes place in this chapter of life so that upcoming generations of adolescents will be pruning their minds into beautiful hedges of splendour."
In a large study of 2,000 individuals, Professor Timothy Salthouse found that some of our cognitive skills peak at the age of 22. It was found that by the age of 27, abstract reasoning, brain speed, and puzzle-solving ability was on the decline. These skills are referred to as fluid intelligence. The good news is that crystallized intelligence increases. Crystallized intelligence is somewhat the same as wisdom. It is intelligence that is built upon by experience and doesn't stop growing until old age. Learning when it comes to crystallized intelligence can be explained, as the name suggests, by a crystal structure. From the previous knowledge and experiences that you have, the structure grows. Fluid intelligence can increase levels of crystallized intelligence, but it doesn't work the opposite way. This means that you don't have to be a genius to have extensive knowledge in a certain area. It has been suggested that wisdom can be associated with the prefrontal cortex, which finishes development at around 25. The prefrontal cortex processes information that comes from all the senses and responds with appropriate thoughts and actions. For the adult learner, most learning is intrinsic, because there's no more school to tell you what to do. However, adults can still be extrinsically motivated by rewards such as pay rises. Adulthood should be the longest stage of your life, and if you'd like to prolong it and enjoy it, it's important that you consume only good things and keep physically and mentally active.
As life grows on to old age, so does the brain. By the age of 65, your brain is not what it used to be. Losing keys, forgetting names, and your grandchildren commenting on you losing your marbles. Your brain is actually steadily losing brain cells in the hippocampus where memory is processed. However, the brain compensates with its flexibility. Studies have shown that gentle exercise 3 times a week can help increase new brain cells, concentration, and glucose. A lack of glucose directly affects the hippocampus and the memory facet of the brain. Coordination training also helps cognitive function, so get grammar on the Nintendo Wii. Studies show that people who are more laid back are less likely to develop dementia than worrywarts. This is likely to be caused by stress-induced high levels of cortisol, which may cause shrinkage in the anterior cingulate cortex, an area linked to Alzheimer's disease and depression in older people. Since the brain is not getting its usual sort of dopamine, depression is quite common. So while our brains may not wrinkle and sag like our skin, they need just as much love and care, so don't give up on yours too soon. To counteract a decrease in short-term memory and slow responses, try developing new skills or revamping old skills that have been neglected for years. Though learning may be slow, life experience is an excellent building block to use and acquire new skills. Active learning through crosswords, brain teasers, computer course, new languages, or musical activities will make you keep your marbles and have an enjoyable and reflective life. In old age, what you don't use, you will lose.
Gestation.
Childhood.
Adolescence.
Adulthood.
Old age.